Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm pretty sure you all remember this game. I'm jumping back into it because now I got more free time again. Last time we went to, oh, and sorry about the noise you're gonna hear because I seriously cannot, I don't know how to fix that. So, last time we did shopping, I think. We went on the beach. So, how I wanted to play this, we're gonna go. See, now if I did sleepover, we could have done fireflies. Shopping, I think that was just gonna happen. So now I want to have. Yeah, if I started off with Runaway, we probably would have had something different. Let's try Runaway. It was early and you were on your way to the playground. Lizzie planned on joining you there later. You weren't sure what she was busy with right now. Older kid stuff, you imagine. That was okay. What was for... Man, please be patient with me. You may hear my family members as well, so sorry about that. What was forefront in your mind was if Cole might be free to come too. As you walked the familiar street, wondering how you might find your neighbor, he appeared right in front of you, almost as if he was mind reader. He was a mind reader. Hi, Cove. Can you come to the playground with me? No. Oh, sorry. Forgot you can voice act sometimes. Cove looked strangely serious. It had been on. It had to be an even bigger deal than whatever mystery thing Lizzie had to do. I'm leaving, Emma Teresa. What? Where? He shifted, and your gaze was drawn to the backpack slung over his shoulders. Cove liked to stuff things into his backpack. From what you've seen, but people sometimes carry bags with them. It hadn't been very attention-worthy until now. The pack was discovered with cartoon waves and dolphins. He gripped one of the straps tightly with his good hand. I just wanted you to know. Cove then glanced up and met your eyes. You started to grow worried. Option. I don't get it. But where are you going? Oh, can I go too? I'll come with you. Just playing with the waves right now. I'm not sure what's gonna happen. He looked up at you. You hoped he would agree, but instead he shook his head. I'll come back though. Sometimes. I don't know when. But we can do stuff then. He directed a fragile smile your way. Without another word, Cove turned on his heels and started to walk away. I'll say wait. He kept going. His focus wasn't on you anymore. What was that about? You watched as his back grew smaller and smaller, then you realized that you were still standing in the middle of the sidewalk. You thought about your earlier plan of playing at the park. Suddenly, it didn't seem as fun anymore, not without Cove. But it wasn't like you could force him to play with you. He had things to do. Played it apart. The other option would just stay where I was. It was still sad Cole couldn't be there, but you wanted to stick with the plan you had on your mind. Maybe Cove and his dad were going on vacation. No, they was already on vacation permanently. That had to be it. Your reason. After all, Cove said he was gonna be back. He wasn't moving again. You resolved to spend time with you resolved to spend time with Cove when you saw him next time for sure. After a couple hours at the playground by yourself, it had gotten firmly into afternoon. I hope I read that right. I don't know if I can go back. Okay. You were on the swing set with your feet buried in the sand when you spotted Lizzie in the distance. She was rushing over like something was on her tail, chasing her. My bad. You knew she would be coming, but she was that excited to get to the park. Instead of nabbing the swing beside you, Lizzie stopped in front of you. She bent over, balanced her hands on her knees, and pants. Did you hear? Hear what? Lizzie bounced back up, her eyes blown wide. You only saw her this worked up when she found out a new hiding place of Mom's sugar stash. Oh, it's about Cove. Cove, something in the pit of your stomach dropped at hearing his name. You listened intently as Lizzie explained. I just came out when I saw lots of people gathered around in the middle of the street. They were talking kind of quietly, so I don't think I was supposed to hear, but that just means it was important. So I snuck up and I heard everything. She paused dramatically. Clearly she wanted you to say something. Options. So, what did you hear? Tell me. I don't really care. You just looked back at her. Yeah. Seeing that she had your attention, Lizzie continued, not Lizzie, my bad. Cove is missing. He left a piece of paper for Mr. Holtzen to tell him he was going away and would be gone for a long time, and no one's seen him since. Now they're searching the whole neighborhood. The grown-ups were even saying that if they don't find Cove soon, they'll call the police. The police? This was horrible. You had seen Cove and knew he was going someplace, but you had no idea it was like that. Was Cove going to be arrested for running away? No, that's not true. That's not how it works. You thought you might have to go to jail too for not saying anything and letting him go. Only if something happened, but at this point, no. You glanced back at Lizzie. Should you tell her what you know about Cove leaving, or would it be better to keep that to yourself? Let me see. Telling her, she'll be a blabbermouth for sure. But if there was ever a chance to find out what would happen if we didn't tell her, this is what I want to find out. You kept a secret from Lizzie. Now wasn't the time for bringing it up. Actually finding Cole was more important. Plus, all of this wasn't your fault. You had no idea that things would turn out so bad. You watched as your sister began to pace in front of you. I know Mom said Cole was sad about moving here, but running away from home is crazy. Where else is he gonna go? Option. I don't know. I want to find him. I hope someone finds him soon. Yeah. What the heck that supposed to mean? I go to tons of places. You didn't answer her. Let's see. See, I hope someone finds him soon. Sound like she don't want to do it, but she hopes somebody do. I'm gonna say I go to tons of places. Lizzie scrunches her face up, think deeply for a moment. Then she nodded and planted her hands on her hips, determined. I'm gonna look too. You are? Sorry, girl. I ain't know you can do that. We can play at the park any day. And the more people there are looking, my bad, the quicker someone will find him. Maybe I'll be the one who does. Maybe the best. I'm the best at hide and seek after all. It seemed like Lizzie wanted to look not only because she was concerned about Cove, but also because it was the most interesting thing to happen this week. Wish me luck. Before you could say anything, she ran off in the opposite direction from where you came. You were left in the dust in a matter of moments. That was your sister for you. But Lizzie appears in this crisis faded to the back of your mind just as quickly. Cove. He told his dad he was leaving to go somewhere by himself. Why did Cole suddenly decide to do that today? Did something bad happen? It was impossible to say for sure. Unfortunately, you had no idea where he could have gone. You thought hard. There were the hills behind your house. He had gone there the first time you met. But someone would have checked there already. They wouldn't need the police for that. Cole must be far away or hiding somewhere if the whole neighborhood was looking for him. You swung back and forth, your lips pursed in contemplation. If I were Cole, where would I go? Lizzie had said Cole was crazy for running away from home, but he never considered Sunset Bird his home, did he? His real home was somewhere else. There was only one place that came to mind that might be important enough for Cole to go off like this. It was a good idea, except how was he gonna go there? How was he gonna get there? Could he take a bus? Was he gonna walk the whole day? My English. You didn't know what direction he needed to take. But, wait, there was only one way he could go. Going down the street just led to the beach. So that couldn't be right, my English. Going to either sidewalk, oh my gosh, let me slow down. Going to either side would mean he'd get stuck by buildings and fences and big slopes, like the one behind your house. That left going down the street. You knew that road. It led into the main part of town and kept going all the way to the city limits. Cole didn't know the area well. You didn't think he'd want to go off that road onto some random other street. Which meant if someone followed that path, they might find him somewhere along it. The grown-ups seemed to all be looking in the neighborhood, so let's go find Cove. You shouldn't tell anyone yet, just in case you were wrong. You could go check it for yourself. You rushed to where you had abandoned your flip-flops and slipped them on. They slipped against the sand as you left the playground. You went around along the main street, keeping an eye out for Cove. No one else had the same idea as you, it seemed, because you were completely alone there. You passed through the whole neighborhood and then the other side over and the next. You put one foot in front of the other, focused on your surroundings as you did. Cove had a head start, so you didn't know how far he could have gone. You couldn't get distracted. You kept walking. You even called out for Cove a few times, but didn't see that familiar mope of green hair anywhere. After a while, the sun began to dip out of the sky. It would be dark soon, and there was still no sign of your neighbor. You weren't even in the residential district by this point. You had reached the central part of town. The area was at once strange and familiar. Okay. You've been there before, of course, but never without your moms close by. They would drive you. You were growing disheartened. There was the possibility that he was further ahead, but there were countless other places to potentially check to. Cole! You shouted his name a few times, as you had done periodically this entire time, but there was nothing. Maybe he's not going this way. Was he somewhere else? Has someone found him already? Kept going. At this point, she said she need her parents, but she's already so far out. So I would not advise doing this, so we're gonna go further. You were able to make it this far. You had to continue to search. With that in mind, you push forward to walk a little faster. People said this was a really tiny town, but to you it felt absolutely gigantic. Eventually, the business part of town ended too. There was no sidewalk anymore, only a long expanse of road. You walk on the grass instead. Onward was the only option. Your journey stubbornly continues. Your feet hurt. Oh my goodness, wait a minute. I'm looking at the background now. This is bad. I hope he didn't go that far. And at this point, I just continued. I should have told somebody. I really should have told somebody. This would have made things a lot more better. Anyway, your feet hurt and you were tired and you were on your own. But somehow, you had reached the very edge of Sunset Bird. That's what the sign told you. You had lived in Sunset Bird forever, and it was a very rare occasion that you seen the sign. Most everything in your life happened inside the city limits. The endless road ahead seemed scary in a way. It paralyzed you and finally put an end to your forward momentum. I think that's what it said. You scan your surroundings instead of dwelling on that. You deeply hope he hadn't gone past that sign either. Cove, are you there? Here, not there, here. The previous times you called his name, there had been no signs. You couldn't be surprised that one didn't come this time either, until Teresa? A dark blob just behind one of the exit sign's legs shifted. You squinted as it continued to move. The more you stared, the more your eyes adjust, and the more that dark blob resembled a person. Then you realized just who it was. It was Cove. He was here. You actually found him. He hesitantly got up from where he had been sitting, as if to make sure he had actually heard something. Then he caught a sight of you, his eyes wide behind his glasses. I can't say I knew you'd be here, so I'm gonna read the options. Here you are. Are you crazy? I'm so happy you're here. I've been looking everywhere for you. I knew you'd be here. You were just as stunned, and it left you silent. No. I'm stubborn. So I'm just gonna say, cause saying "Are you crazy?" is not helping right now. So I'm pretty sure as soon as he got to this sign, he knew like that would be a long road. And going on foot, he didn't have enough food for that. So let's see. I'm gonna say I'm happy that you're here. Cole finally blinked as you ran up to him, your feet still aching. How did you find me? Kinda easy. You said you were leaving and you've always wanted to go back home. So I thought you must have come this way. And that was all he said after all this. Maybe he didn't realize how seriously the adults were taking it. Option, what are you gonna do now? Are you okay? We should head back home. Head back now. I'll ask, are you okay? Yeah. He didn't look okay. His brows were pinched and his shoulders tense. You got the feeling that pointing that out wouldn't help matters. My sentence was better. Everyone's looking for you. That caught his attention. He frowned at you. They are? Duh. Yeah, the whole neighborhood. Lizzie told me they might even call the police. We might get arrested. What? Why? I don't know. Because you tried to run away, probably? And I knew, so I'm your, accomplice? Was that the word? I don't know, girl. I think so. I thought so. You heard it before, and on those detective shows mommy liked to watch. We're not gonna be arrested. Although Cove said that, he looked a little worried over the news. Come on, Cove, let's go home. I knew that. He spoke crossly. You were thirsty and exhausted, and you weren't sure you could keep going back and forth about this. Let's see. Option, why not? How come? Why? Why can't we just go? You're stupid. I don't understand why you can't go back. These questions would not have been serious to analyze, but at this point, the way this kid is, I'm just like, bro, you ain't got no choice. I don't understand why you can't go back. I'm gonna say that. Your question caused him to waver, but not budge. At first, Cove was quiet. You started to think where the heck did how come from? You started to think he wouldn't say anything. Then he spoke. My mom called today to check up on me and stuff. She asked what Sunset Bird was like and how I was doing. It was okay. But when I asked if she'll come here, Mom said she couldn't. I can't go back there. I can't go back either. Not right now. She has to move to somewhere else first. Cole glared at the ground. His voice cracked as he continued. Why can't I even see her anyway? He used his uncast arm to rub both his eyes. I'm gonna go myself. I don't need anyone to take me. Option. How are you going to get to your mom's place? That's such a bad idea. This was all just too much and you started to cry. Do you know the direction to your old house? You're being selfish. Yeah, we're gonna say you're being selfish. It's always about what you want. You never thought about anyone else. Cole glared harsher at you than you ever seen before. You didn't have to come. You didn't have to do anything. Why should I have to do what I want? Why should I have to not do what I want just because you don't like it? That isn't fair. Option. I was only trying to help. I came because you're my friend and I like you. Don't you like and care about me too? It isn't just me. You're making everyone upset for yourself. You couldn't even reply to him after that. Let's see. Just gonna say here. I went all the way to the edge of the town. Cole's mouth fell open. He could only manage one word. Teresa? Bruh. Yeah, like, who else doing this? I want to see you be happy again, and I really tried. But it doesn't matter to you if I'm okay or if anybody else is. His lower lip trembled at your declaration, and his eyes started to become even more wet. I'm sorry, I care. I want you to be happy too. It's just... Then he shook his head, like he was trying to clear it. When he spoke some more, it was mostly to himself. If I don't go see Mom, then she... Fresh tears glistened in Cole's rimmed eyes. He stubbornly tried to blink them away, but they slipped down his cheeks. You frowned at the sight. No matter what, you hated seeing him cry. What'll happen? Mom doesn't call that much, and I haven't seen her in so long. Cole hiccuped, wiping his face with the back of his arm. His glasses got shoved up awkwardly as a result. If I don't go, she'll be gone. She'll forget about me. She wouldn't do that, honestly, because she birthed you, dude. How do you know? She's your mom. She loves you. Your mom's always said that. So it must be true for Cole's mom, too. Cole sniffed. He seemed conflicted. I'm not sure if that's right. You are at a standstill. Option. Everything will be okay if you just go home. We can't stay here forever and we can't go out there. We've got to go back. Then we'll stay out here. I'm not gonna go back. You crazy. Yeah, I'm choosing the middle option because he becoming problematic for me. Cove's brows furrowed, a scowl appeared on his lip. He turned away from you. You stared at his back. You couldn't just stop. Please, Cove. After a few minutes of sullen silence, Cove twisted back around. He wouldn't look you in the eye. Okay, let's go. You ain't got no choice, kid. I don't want you to get in trouble. I don't want something bad to happen. He was doing it for you? That gave you a warm feeling inside, even if you wish he didn't want to live. Leave. Oh my gosh. He didn't want to leave in the first place. And then with that, together you walked away from the exit sign. Your feet hurt a lot by this point, for real. And you were so tired, but you convinced him. You were bringing Cove home, and that's what mattered. On the long walk back home, it was only thanks to the occasional street lamp and faint moonlight that you could see in the dark tonight. You were content to stick together, You were content to stick close together. Sometimes your drowsy walking caused one of you to almost bump into the other. The back of your hand brushed his. Options. You held on to Cove's hand. You noticed Cove took hold of your hand. Huh? You shook your head to try walking yourself up. No. We're gonna say he held onto our hand because they probably said something else, but I was in the middle of reading and then trying to visualize it because this is just a still picture. You reached out for his hand. It slipped into yours easily. His palm was warm. Cove glanced at you, looking surprised. Then he smiled. His fingers curled around the back of your hand. The two of you continued down the street, hand in hand. You wonder if anyone was still looking for Cove, and you too, probably. Do you think they called the police after all? No, probably not. He didn't sound confident though. You still hoped he was right. You didn't want to go to jail. You're not going to jail. You weren't sure how much time passed. All you knew was that one moment you were fighting the drooping of your eyelids while shuffling near Cove on the sidewalk, and the next you were snapped back to attention by the blaring beep of a horn. Cove froze. You whipped around to see a car approaching you. It was difficult to make out who it was. The headlights were so blinding. Instead of continuing down the road, the car slowed near where you sat. The window rolled down, revealing the face behind the wheel. It was very familiar. Mom! She shouted back, and not just because there was some distance between you and her. Where have you kids been? I've been looking around for you. That must be the cool mom. Cold mom. I was trying to help Cove. She stopped looking at you instead staring hard straight ahead. Both her hands were gripping the wheel. Ah, phooey. That went by too fast. My finger, whatever. I'm not playing on the mouse anyway. Guilt ate at you from the inside. Get in. Let's get you two home. That at least made her showing up worth it. Your feet were aching like crazy from all the walking you've done today. You yanked open the side door, slipped inside the back seat, then clambered over so Cove had enough room to climb into. I like the seat. He followed in wordlessly, tucked his backpack near his feet. Your mom looked at you and Cove from the rearview mirror. The two of you had us extremely worried. That wasn't a good thing to do. Not at all. Shamefaced, you both nodded at once.
Sorry.
Miss Lass. Yeah, I gotta put Lass for her name because I'm not creative. Sorry, Mom. She softened immediately, not enough to actually let it go, though. You'll have to apologize to everyone else, too. With that, Mom started the car up again, and you were off. For the rest of the car ride, no one said anything. You thought all you were pretty tired. You thought all of you were pretty tired. In fact, you must have dozed off at some point because you woke up to the sound of the engine stopping. When you opened your eyes, you realized Cove was looking over at you. He was tense. We're back. You yawned and got out of the car. Cove came out after, putting his backpack on again. Mom locked the car door, and motioned you two towards the house. She opened the front door and let you go inside. Mommy appeared quickly. She must have been waiting nearby. There was a phone in her hand. It worried you, thinking about who she might have been talking to. The tight line of her shoulders relaxed when she saw you and Cove. Oh, thank goodness. You found both of them. Yes, I did. She's angry. They were walking down the main street together. What were you two doing there this time at night? Let me revive that. What were you two doing there this time at night? Do you have any idea how far that is? How unsafe? You peeked at Cove. He still looked exhausted. His eyes were puffy and there were dry tear tracks stuck to his cheeks. I wanted to see my mom, and I'm sure she came to get me. Your own mom shared a look. You weren't sure what it meant, but they always did that. You wondered if they could read each other's mind. Since they were communicating telepathically, you stole a glance around the house. Lizzie wasn't anywhere in sight. Could she be outside somewhere, searching for Cove still? Where's Lizzie? Your sister's in her room, fast asleep, the same way you should have been. She came back earlier. She had been out looking for Cove after accidentally finding out he was missing. She tried to pretend otherwise, but she was worried. She said she checked all the hiding places she could think of, but she couldn't find Cove. You and Cove exchanged remorseful glances at that. Mommy noticed the discomfort.
Okay.
You two must be sleepy. You can sit down wherever you like. And I hit the freaking mouse again. Oh well, hopefully y'all got fast fingers than I do. And pause that. The living room wasn't far or separated by a wall, so you heard your mom talking softly. He wanted to go see his mom. Poor thing. That explains it at least. Still, I'm not sure it excuses it. It was so dangerous to go off into town like that. He's having a hard time right now. You can't expect a child to handle it maturely. True, it can't be helped. She looked evil, can we be honest? But that's enough of that. We should tell Cliff and the others that he's here before the panic gets out of hand. There could be riots. I'll call, then go to the front to tell everyone still out there. You keep an eye out on the kids. Make sure they don't take any more trips today. Got it, hun. Cove just sat there on the couch, setting his backpack down beside him. He stared at his hands. I'm sorry, Emma Teresa. You face him quietly. Quietly, no matter. I didn't want to make you feel bad. I don't want to fight. Option, and you won't do it again? I'm sorry too. You took in his apology wordlessly. Well, at the bottom, I always feel like we gotta be here, nada. Ugh. Should I feel sorry? I didn't call him stupid, so that was safe. I can't say I would prefer him not to. I can't say for certain he won't do it again. That's why I'm just playing the games like as I go. So we're gonna say I'm sorry too. You don't have to. It wasn't your fault. It's alright. Despite Cove's protest, you couldn't help it. It wouldn't be too hard not to say sorry after a disagreement. Yeah, disagreement. But having him apologize did make you feel much better. Oh my goodness. I'm seconds away from getting my mouth so I can roll it back, but I won't. Your mom was back with Mr. Holton close behind her. He made a beeline for the couch, his gaze trained on his son.
Cove?
God, are you alright? Strands of his hair had fallen out of his ponytail. His eyes were darkened like he'd been crying too. Cove stared at his dad, his own eyes wide behind the frames of his glasses. He really hadn't expected it to be such a big deal. I'm okay. Good. That's good. I'm so glad to hear that. He clasped a hand on his son's shoulder, attempting a smile, but the corners of his lips twitched in spasms, as if they wanted to wilt into a frown instead. Cove seemed to have that effect on him. Mr. Holden turns to you, still smiling weakly. I'm so happy you're alright too, Emma Teresa. Then he looked at your mom's. Thanks for your help as always. He laughed pitifully.
Sorry.
And I'm very sorry for ruining your afternoon with this. I can't apologize enough. It was no trouble, Cliff, really. It couldn't be helped, in a way. Something was bound to happen sometimes. Besides, he wasn't the only one who decided it was a good idea to disappear today. Exactly. We're just happy the kids are safe and sound. Not for the first time that day, you recall your original meeting with Cove. He had run away then too, only not as far as he had today. Cove must have had a familiar thought, because he mumbled an apology. Sorry, Dad, I won't leave anymore, promise. Some life seemed to return to Mr. Holden thanks to his promise. This time around, his smile was more genuine. That's a relief to hear. Next time you feel like running away, come to me first, okay? We can talk about it. I'm here for you. Cove nodded. So he's like, Dad, you're lying. You're only saying that because they're here. Or then again, I don't know this dude, so he probably telling the truth. But he seemed genuine, so yeah, we're gonna stick with that. Cove nodded. His dad reached out and muddled his hair playfully. Although he made a face, Cove didn't try to dodge the hand as he usually did. Let's go home, bud. I bet you're as tired as I am. Mr. Halton took over carrying Cove's backpack, still clasping a free hand on his son's shoulder when he stood up from the couch. The probably you walked over to the front door so you could see him off. Mr. Halton thanks your mom profusely at least 3 more times before he walked out the door. Cove was made to follow. But he stopped and turned to you before stepping through the threshold. Emma Teresa? You're welcome, Cove. A tiny smile flitted across his lips. There and then go. Option. I'm glad you're okay. You waved him off. You hugged him. We're gonna give him a hug. Before he was gone, you reached over to give him a hug goodbye after a hard day. He held you back more tightly than you could have anticipated, and you almost squeaked out a noise. He's grateful. I'm glad you're here. His embrace was tight but brief. He let go as soon as he said what he wanted to. And with that, Cove left. Mommy closed the door behind them. You were practically dead on your feet at that point. Your fatigue must have been obvious because your mom sent you right to bed with no more discussion on what happened that day. Once your head hit the pillow, your eyes slipped closed on their way. Your eyes slipped closed on their own. Your eyelids were so heavy you couldn't open them again until the next morning. You woke up much more at ease than you had felt when you were last conscious. It was almost like it was a dream. I'm not gonna sing that song. But it definitely wasn't. Your mom's faces when you saw them assured that. After breakfast, you were sat down and your family went over yesterday's event in full. They were none too pleased that you went out to find Cove on your own. As punishment, your mom took away your TV privileges for the next few days. Lizzie was annoyed that she couldn't watch her shows with you around, but she adjusts because you can do other things about TV. Whenever you expressed disappointment, your mom reminded you that they weren't punishing you for no reason. It was dangerous to go out on your own so late, and without telling anyone, you could have gotten hurt or worse. As upset as you were, you understood. Mr. Halton talked to Cove about what happened too. You didn't know what was said exactly. Mr. Halton forgave Cove immediately. He didn't do anything to punish Cove for running away. He blamed no one but himself for Cove's desire to leave home. You caught your mom discussing it once in hushed tones, frowning at each other. It was pretty serious. There was a word used you hadn't heard before. Self-flagellation? Whatever. But there wasn't anything they could do to change Mr. Halton's mind. Your neighbor stopped you in Cove often for the next week or so to express their concerns and disapproval of the event. Still, as they always did, days continued to pass, so did talk about Cove running away. Things eventually returned to normal as they had to. Summer kept going, and you kept having experiences you shared with Cove. True that. Huh. That was actually pretty good. Man, this is actually tough because I wanted to make it feel like a storyline put together. What goes well with ghosts? Since we did Runaway and Firefly shopping, I'm going to go for Halloween because Halloween did pass. The night was incredibly still. You really couldn't ignore how silent it was. It was almost eerie. You could even hear Lizzie snoring in the next room over. It was hard to believe how much of a blur today was. Summer sure did slip right past you. You flicked through the moments like pages in a scrapbook as you laid in bed. The ones that stuck out all seemed to include your new neighbor, Cove. It was funny how he had become such a big part of your life in such a short span of time. You thought a lot about what adventures you could have tomorrow until sleep started to catch up to you. Then you heard something scrape against the window. It wasn't that uncommon for the wind to push a tree branch against the glass. Summer breeze were the worst sometimes. Not really. I actually like it. But the more you tried to ignore it, the louder it seemed like it became. It was like something was trying to get your attention. You lifted your head off the pillow to get a better look. Nothing was there. Nothing you could see, at least. Option: you just went back to bed. It was only your imagination. You had to investigate the mysterious sound. It's too creepy to ignore. Nah, we're going back to sleep. We don't investigate. You tried again to close your eyes and go to sleep. But the unknown scratching sounds didn't stop. It left your heart pounding. Option: you couldn't ignore it anymore. You had to check it out. You went to talk to your moms about it. Okay, quick story. When I was little, I had no idea I was sneaking out the window. I had no memory I was sneaking out the window. So the only person that caught me was my mom. And of course I got a whooping, but even she didn't know why I was doing it. I didn't know why I was doing it. I was very young. So I'm just going to tie this with that. Because I remember having dreams of a black ball just sitting outside. And if I get closer to it, it floats back to the sky. I go back in the house, it hit the ground. So I'm going to go and investigate it. Only because of that dream. Because I honestly felt like that's what I was doing in that dream. To go investigate whatever that big black ball was. And it was bigger than the apartment complex that I was in. You practically jumped out of bed and crept down the stairs to go outside. Your moms were still awake. They stayed up so late, it seemed. Luckily, they were watching TV and didn't hear the soft click of the front door opening as you slipped past. Oh gosh. What happened to the motherly instinct? Who gave birth? Who gave birth? You looked around the neighborhood for a few seconds, checked over each individual house. It looked normal, but it didn't feel that way. You knew you weren't supposed to be out here right now. No, duh. Option: it was exhilarating. It made you regret your decision. It scared you. I didn't feel none of these as a kid, actually. Not even exhilarating. So we was already punished, so I don't even know what they're gonna do if they catch me doing something again. So I'm gonna say it made me regret my decision. Without the protective seal of your mom's approval, you felt very vulnerable. There must be a reason you were allowed out in the day and not at night. Not knowing precisely what that reason was made you feel even more afraid. The ease with which you had slipped out only served to make you feel worse. Your mom didn't need to be vigilant because they had trusted you not to do exactly what you were doing. Oh my gosh. Amateurisa? Cole, what are you doing? You switched at the sudden call, immediately calling. Let me calm down myself. Because I didn't jump out my skin when I read his name. You twitched at the sudden call, immediately calming down upon seeing Cove walking to you. It was strange, and yet also completely normal to have him appear like this right now. What are you doing? I saw you standing around in the middle of the street in front of my window. Oh, from my window. Okay. You weren't sleeping either? Why not? Cole turned his lips to smile, almost as if he were amused by the question. Because what? What were you doing? Option: did you hear a weird noise? You should be in bed. Because what? I'm glad you're here. We ain't playing that last one. Yeah, I'm gonna say because what? Because I wasn't. His tone was irritated now. That wasn't really fair, since he hadn't given you a proper answer the first time. Or the second, for that matter. Yep. Why aren't you sleeping? You weren't even in your house. Tempting as it was to turn his technique back on him, you decided to lead by example and show him what a real answer looked like. There was a strange noise coming from outside. I came to check it out.
You heard it too? What? Cole hesitated for a moment, looking down the street before his aquamarine eyes fell on you again. Did it scare you? Option, yeah, no, a little, no. If anything, it was annoying. I was scared. It's okay, Cole. We're safe. And we have each other.
Thanks.
Your reassurance definitely seemed to ease his fears, at least a little. I was kind of wondering if it was the wind, but what if it's not? What if it's a person? What if it's something that's not a person? The unsettling noise suddenly rushed through the air. Cove and you flinch. It sounds even worse than before. You were about to agree with him when the noise came yet again, tearing through the silent night. The two of you rapidly looked around, trying to find the source, but to no avail. There was no sign of an answer to this puzzle. You thought that. Option. It could be anything. It had to be a ghost. There's gotta be a regular reason for this. I'm gonna say ghost. It was a ghost. Invisible, creepy thing luring children from their beds. It had to be a monster. You were becoming more and more excited by the thought, imagining yourself as some famous ghost hunter. Ghost adventures? Cove didn't seem to share your enthusiasm, and that kept you from getting totally lost in a daydream. The most important thing to you was making sure he would be okay, even if you had to be the one to protect him. Hey, can you tell me where it's coming from?
Not really.
Then we'll have to look more somewhere else. Maybe we'll see something. Okay, let's go. As you walked the familiar streets of your neighborhood, you found yourself taking the lead while Cole hung back behind you. You were happy to let him rely on you. Shadows cut corners and angles where you didn't expect them, distorting the features you saw every day. The noise came again, thrilling and hard. It set your teeth on edge the way it ground its way through you. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna stick with that. Cold stroke bobbled. Okay. Bobbed. Okay. His eyes glistened in the dim light. Option. You comfort him. You offered him your hand. We don't need to be scared. You focus ahead. But if he is behind me, that means he's not gonna want to be right next to me at the moment. So well, I'll give him my hand. You really wanted to be there for him and wanted to show that. Your hand was left up for him to take. Cole's mouth opened wordlessly. There was a pause, but ultimately he accepted the offer. His hand was really sweaty, but it didn't bother you. Cole shut his eyes and pressed his lips together. Your fingers locked around each other even tighter. Where did you want to check? We going behind a hill, but I'm sorry, the options are the park, the beach, the hills behind my house. We're doing behind my house. We ain't going all over there. You and Cove ascended the hill, lit only by the stars in the night sky. The wind rippled through the grass and ruffled your hair. Where did I get rippled? Okay, rippled. And ruffled your hair. Without the sun's light to translate what you were seeing, every bush in the distance looked like a creepy figure or towering monster. The noise was just as loud here as it was in your neighborhood, with just as little indication behind the cause, option. But you kept going forward. You run away. You snuck back to your neighborhood quietly. But you kept going forward. You couldn't stop when you couldn't stop when you had already gone so far. You had to find out what was going on. The top of the hill was an excellent vantage point to survey the town from. Everything appeared normal. There was no out-of-the-place sight pinpointing the answer to this mystery. Without visible markers to guide your way, you suppose it was up to you and Cove to deduce the source of the sound. The hill had many great hiding places, and you intended to check them all. You overturned rocks, peered up trees, and rummaged in the thick grass for anything that might bring some closure on all this. Cove stuck close to you as you hunted for the source of the noise. When the shrieking noise shook the air, he shook too. You wanted to be there for him. Seeking to ease his nerves and put aside spooky thoughts, you decided to strike up a conversation with him. Your search for a topic was more fruitful than your search for the noise. Your eyes fell on Cove's cast, and you were instantly inspired. Have you broken any of your bones?
No.
Oh. It turns out that wasn't much of an engaging topic for him after all. Option: I broke my leg once. My arm was broken before too. I never broken any bone. I sprained my ankle before. Well, given the first episode, I believe, a scar was around my thumb. Or in my palm. Well, what you gonna say I broke, something? She said, I never broken any bone. Let's just say she did break her ankle when she went looking for him. He smiled mischievously at your injury claim. That's not the same thing. It still isn't good. Guess so. That put an end to your injury discussion, but Cove's calmer mood alleviated the bleak atmosphere like you hoped it would. Cove cast his eyes out to the darkness, feeling bolder. Does this make you feel strange? We were people who heard weird noises at night and are looking for what it is. Yeah, Scooby-Doo like. It's like we're at the start of a book or movie. And we're the main character. Yep. Yeah. Option: it's a horror story. It's an action story. It's a fantasy story. It's a documentary. What do y'all know about a documentary? Let's see. Can't say it's action because it's at night, so I'm gonna say, well, no, let it be action. I mean, everything's not a fantasy. When they went out to investigate, they didn't expect to uncover diamond smugglers. Why would thieves make a bunch of noise? Shouldn't they be extra quiet? This is all a distraction they set up to hide their real crimes. They'll explain it all when they stumble into their base. That's the first time I've seen him actually smile. Then we'll break free and get the police. Well, whatever the noise was, you were confident that you had established that it was not coming from the hill. Once you were satisfied nothing out of the ordinary was to be found on the hill, you had to consider your next step. Option: you figured you'd check the park too. You figured you'd check the beach too. You decided to go back home. Look, we ain't going all the way out, so I'm just gonna say park. At this point, we're not even supposed to be out this far. Look at him. Sad. Scared. We're not supposed to be here. Okay. The private playground was as empty as ever. You could just about hear the mysterious sound if you were quiet, but it had simmered down to a whisper. Cove wasn't practically shaking when he realized it had progressively far enough. Let me revive this. Cove was practically shaking when he realized it had progressed far enough to reach there. Okay. He swallowed hard but faced you with a determined face. My dad says, good detective work starts at home. He watched a lot of crime shows, so maybe it could be good to look closely. So all our parents watched that. Okay. The two of you swept through every corridor of the park. No monkey bar, swing, or tire went unchecked. Huh. He was squatting on the ground, squinting at something in his hand. Intrigued, you checked over his shoulder just so you could see too. Cove held it in his open palm. Coiled inside was a length of sparkly chain, grains of sand embedded in the fine links. Lifting it up, it became apparent how this had come to be here. You've seen bracelets and necklaces enough to recognize that the clasp which held it together had snapped. It's broken. It's silver. Werewolves hate silver. Other things too, I think. If this noise is caused by a monster, option, we can protect ourselves with it. We'll scare it away with junks. What if it's not real silver? We're gonna keep it like this. We can protect ourselves with it. Yeah. He flicked the chain as if cracking a tiny whip. I wonder if there's anything else we could use out here. Cole considered this, frowning. I should have grabbed some garlic before I left. We wouldn't be expecting to go on a night adventure like this. His frown evolved into a scowl. It probably would have worked. Dad doesn't have real garlic. Wouldn't have worked. It probably wouldn't have worked. Dad doesn't have real garlic. So he used artificial. He gets fake garlic. It's little flakes in a jar. Not really balls you have to cut up like Mom's uses. Okay, option. Flakes might be easier to use. It's still real garlic, just already chopped up. That can't taste as good. We won't need it anymore. We won't need it anyway. Yeah, because we're already so far from the house. But if this story can transition back to the home, that'd be great. So I'm going to say it's still real garlic, just already chopped up. From his begrudging tone, you could tell that he was still firmly on the side of fresh garlic. Dang it. You had exhausted all the possible places to search in the park. Straightening up, you muse over your next step. It's gone. What? Then you realized it. The noise, which has grown fainter and less frequent during your search, had died off completely. You and Cove shared puzzled looks, but neither of you had an answer for what had caused the mystery sound, or made it go away. A yawn crept up on you. All the excitement had made you forget how late it was. Let's go home. We're not going to find anything now. The night was still as she walked home. With none of the usual background noises or the eerie whistle from before, you could hear every step you and Cole made like a cough in a movie theater. The two of you came to a halt outside your front door. Never before had it looked so ominous. Now to sneak back inside. Do you sneak out a lot? No. Option. This is for the first time. Not really. Lots. You were lying. Yeah. Lots. You were telling the truth. I'm just gonna let it be me and say not really, because there are times I just did not. I didn't. Thought so. Shut up. How did you know? I hadn't seen you out my window this late before. That was fair, though. It could have been possible you were just so good at sneaking that this was the first time he had caught you. Are you worried about getting caught?
No.
He was so forthright that you believed him completely. But your dad, won't he be mad or sad if he catches you? He's never happy with what I do. Oh. Option. You sympathize. You encourage Cove to see it more positively. You stayed out of it. You didn't know how to react to that. Your dad is just worried about you. He cares. It doesn't matter if he worries if he's the one who makes things worse. Alright, I'm going in. Okay, good night. Good night, Cove. Thank you for coming with me tonight. You made me feel better about stuff. I want to say thanks to you. You beamed at him. You turned the doorknob as slowly as a clock's minute hand, holding your breath for the telltale click of the lock, then nudged it open. When all that happened was the door opening rather than the blaring alarm that you feared, you melted with relief. Nice. Back inside your house, you were surprised to find your mom still watching TV. Weirder still, it looked like they were on the same show as they were watching before you left. Yet you were positive you've been out investigating for hours. Perhaps you could use your distraction to your advantage. If you could just get up these stairs, you could be safe from suspicion. But how would you get there? Option. You tried to sneak past. You decided to walk in your own house nonchalantly. You couldn't. You had to give up and come clean. Because of this layout, from the way I'm looking, I can't tell where the stairs or the front door is. Like from here. Because if they're right here, then I'm thinking the door is over here. Then that'd probably be a problem if one of them just suddenly hear something like this little lamp over here move, or because we're literally on tile floors, that this little bit of carpet is not gonna do. So I'm gonna try and sneak. You hug the walls as you creep delicately around the perimeter of the room. It was a valiant effort that any spy would have been proud of, right up until the moment when you tripped over a power cord and nearly fell over. Amateurista? You might have not fallen, but your accident ruined your cover. You had been spotted. They abandoned the couch and their show to hurry up. They were still in a state of surprise you weren't in trouble yet.
Are you okay?
What are you doing down here, sweetie? Did you have a bad dream? Options. You told the truth, you lied, you did not answer. I'm gonna lie. Screw y'all. Or can she tell I'm lying? Bro. You couldn't bring yourself to own up to what you had done. I heard scary noises, so I came down here. I mean, sure. Their suspicion gave way to concern. Mom took you by the hand and led you up the stairs. Whew, your hand is cold. Why didn't you come over to us? I was supposed to be in bed. Amatrita, won't you ever be in trouble for coming to us when you're frightened? You won't Amatrita, you won't ever be in trouble for coming to us when you're frightened. We'd much rather you come to us than try to solve things all by yourself. Her phrase made you feel bad. True. The nervousness ate at you as you were tucked into bed. Your mom assumed that your flushing and insistence on delving under the covers was part of your fear, and spoke to you softly until you calmed down enough to peep out from underneath your sheets. Once your mom had left, you turned over the nice adventure in your mind. Can we just say replayed? It was still hard to believe that you'd really done it. It was harder still to believe that you'd gotten away with it. Even now, you half expected to be caught somehow. Perhaps you left the door ajar, or trail of sand where they already swept up. You hoped that Cove had gotten home okay, though he hadn't been worried. Being told off was never fun. Wriggling down deeper underneath the sheets, your thoughts turned to the unsolved mystery. You and Cove had only just begun to scratch the surface of it. Maybe you solved it, and maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you solved it, and maybe you wouldn't. Shouldn't that be or? But what matters was that you shared the experience with each other. You were still so energized by the night of excitement that you tossed and turned in the bed for some time, syncing up theories to share with Cole when you next saw him. Sleep eventually claimed you, but the adventure merely resumed in your dreams. The next morning proceeded mostly like usual, though your mom seemed to be given extra consideration since finding you last night. You later learned Cove didn't end up in trouble for the nightly escape either. It was unclear whether that was because his dad chose not to punish him, or if Cove got away with it. It was amazing to you that it all worked out for the both of you. As for the sounds that started this all, the adults around were convinced it was nothing more than the wind. For your imaginative mind, that wasn't nearly enough. How could they accept something so simple so easily? Maybe it made more sense when you were grown up too. Maybe. Alright, that is 2 stories down, which will lead us to an even number. So, from the runaway part, that one would strike fear into anyone because you expected to run away, but how far were you willing to go was the question. Especially as a child. In most places in small towns, it wouldn't work. But in some cases, it's still scary to think about. But ghosts, first of all, I wouldn't go on investigating at all. And I chose not to go to the beach because sand, water, you're gonna smell like the sea if you go there. So the part to me was safer, despite it could have been more interesting to go to the beach. But I wanted to stay in my bed anyway. That's what I would have done anyway. But I, used my experience to that advantage. So, thank you for joining me, and hopefully y'all have a good Sunday and good weekend, actually, because it is Sunday. And I'll see y'all next time. See ya!